daily cycles here with an update on October the 5th. So I am wondering if we need a little bit more time with topping formation, although this rally has been very extended, as we will see later. This low in April is classified as a 10-week oscillation low, and this low in late June was a 10-week oscillation low, and there's been a little bit uncertainty about where is this 10-week oscillation low, but I had some indications it was actually here, and this low is very similar to this previous one. And if that was the case, it was unlikely with this early breakdown, then probably we should extend a little bit more. That looks like we are on that path. Also, I rediscovered my 4-week cycle, now calculated here in black, and there's kind of a problem here because finally I rediscovered the cycle and then we started to deviate from it right away. This low it doesn't fit, it's too early. But you could call this some kind of inversion that can happen at market tops. The market is not respecting the cycle, it gets very overbought and it cannot find momentum, it starts to make double tops or triple tops and then it breaks down. But what I would like to see here is a quick drop early next week, because then that drop would be a cycle low around the time where it should happen. But then the cycle turns very bullish and we can make a top in a week's time and then get the correction, and then we should go down to the next 10-week cycle low. And I think now it's time to see a bigger correction and this trend starting to weaken. So let's zoom out a little bit, because we have some extreme action going on. Here is the 28-year cycle going back 200 years and the inflation adjusted S&P, and we are kind of breaking out of the channel. But at this point very soon we should have a weak period as the early 2000s, the 1970s, the 1940s, around the First World War, the 1910s, and we have a weak period here and back here and back here and back here. So, but at the moment the weakness has not started, and it could still be years ahead the final top, like the year 2000. The top could be in 2028. But I think we need some kind of a correction, or I should call it some kind of a bear market the next 6 to 12 months, because the drop we had in April, in my opinion, does not qualify as the weakness I am expecting from the 3.5-year cycle. In the 3.5-year cycle we are at this point in the cycle here shown in red, and going back, that was an analog or corresponding to the lower shoulder just after the Ukraine war started. It is the same point where we topped out here in late 2018. It's the same point where the bull market ended in 2015, and yeah, these others are not that similar. Anyway, I'm expecting sometime we should break down and start a corrective move, probably down into next summer, with a downside target around the level from the April panic lows, and then we should start the next bull market going up into 2028. But something bad could happen. We also have here the Schiller PE. We are only the tech bubble in year 2000 was higher priced than today's market, but yeah, still a little bit to go here. We could extend this more into the next top in 2028. But let me see. I had this scenario. I I was certain the bull market top was back in February, but turned out I was wrong. And there are a few analogs where we have a fake breakdown, and then the bull market extends for another 6 to 8 months. And my favorite analogs were these from 1965 and 2014, although the one from 1980 has a scary similarity and suggests much more upside before it finally breaks down. Also, we have these shorter analogs from 2018 and 1990, suggesting we could just crash down from here. Although, yeah, possible, but not my main scenario. So I was looking for some kind of correction here in August, September, and then the final move up into November. I think we have started that final move up, and it could top, in maybe a week's time. But with this strong trend, if we had followed these other scenarios, we should still have been looking for a double top or a lower shoulder at this next point. So if we get this corrective move, I still think we could call it a double top coming later, because this trend is quite strong. And I'll show you some numbers on that, because we have, like here, the number of days above 35-day moving average is only like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, a handful of occurrences having stayed much longer above the 35-day moving average. Also, we have days above the 50-day moving average. Here we are not that extreme, but still, it's only like 10 times that we have been much longer above the 50-day moving average. And we have here this is number of days with high momentum, no real pullbacks. It's similar to a number of days with the RSI not dropping below 50 or 45 or something. So in the past 30 years, it's only been one time that we have stayed overbought much longer. We have days above 50-day moving average. I showed you that just recently, and here the number of days with positive momentum. It's not like it hasn't happened before, but it's up there with the most overbought analogs. And when market has this strong trend, that normally does not happen right at a bull market high. You need some kind of a topping formation, and then you can start the bearish move. So I normally look for this 10-week oscillations. We had one here, and we had one here, extending a little bit into the April lows, and then we had a 10-week oscillation with a low here, and the next one was, then you could say, projected around here, and actually that turned out to be a 10-week oscillation low, although my wavelet here is a bit confused. But this consolidating move here is very similar to this one, and right now we are reaching almost the midpoint of this next 10-week oscillation, and my wavelets look very ready for something, for a downside, but it could extend. So yeah, we could break down here, but if my rediscovered 4-week cycle is correct, we cannot become bearish until around next weekend. So I think, yeah, we could see a drop that would correspond with this 4-week cycle low, but I think it could extend further, making this maybe a 3-drive top, 1, 2, and 3, and then the corrective move. And we should go down around at least, I think, to 6,400. Could go lower, and time-wise, it should be, it could be even, late November. So, well, I don't know. We have to see. See ya.